Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Tuesday. It is Tuesday, right? That's how it feels these days. I'm not sure about you, but some of the days seem to be blurring together. I know that we say time isn't real, but gosh, that's really, I've been made really aware of that as of late. I want to thank you all for taking the time to visit with us. I know Kelly will be with us in just a few minutes. Hopefully you got a chance to chime into her Venus circle, and that will be great. There's some stuff going on, so I hope it's working right. I had some internet issues earlier and some technical stuff, and it's telling me to hang on for something. Don't really know about that, but would love your guys' feedback today, comments or questions about what's going on in your own life and what you are experiencing, like with the energies coming in and your own planetary stuff. If for some reason Kelly isn't on in like a second, hello, I will restart and we'll do this because I know that she is going to join in from a little text I sent her a few minutes ago. So I hope all of you are taking care of your bodies during all of this. You know, it's a great time. I know with Whole Being, we did a spring cleanse / like reset that's been really fantastic. Letting our liver shine in this time. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out there too. Hold on one sec. Hey. I just walked outside and my allergies are like double.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
I made it. Sorry.
No, I had technical difficulties and like a whole setup thing happening. So you're good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Did it want to update stuff on YouTube?
It did, yeah, and then it told me to hang on, and I was like, they're telling me to
Okay.
hang on. I've never had that happen before. And then I went out.
Right? I've had a few weird things like that I've never seen before.
You know what's interesting is I was just telling Melissa earlier, I said, oh, Kelly sent me an email, and for some reason my emails on my computer, my iPad are not coming, or they're not going through. So I'll see them on another device, and then I have to go and search for them.
Oh, man.
So I sent you an email back saying yes.
Well, we're going to talk about that. I did see that 2 seconds ago.
Okay, good. That's why you just now got the response. So.
Beautiful. No worries. No time. There's no time right now.
No, although I don't know if this has happened. This has definitely happened to me just because of the nature of the work I'm in. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it's like, I don't have a set time of things, right? I'm working a little bit more than I was actually, like
isn't that something? Wise. Me too.
Right? And it's definitely like, whoa. And I mean, cool, really cool stuff and creative things coming in from that, just the transition period of that. It's like, I actually don't have a lot more downtime.
Exactly. I've noticed that too. I've got to really commit to like getting up earlier and going to bed earlier so that I can get more done in the day.
Yeah, and this isn't typically how but I'm gonna allot specific times for things, right? Because it's just I have to.
Right.
Like, oh gosh, I thought, oh, I'll get to clean the windows. No.
Nope. Not even close. I thought the same thing. And my balcony needs cleaning. There's lots of things in here that are projects that would be great, but they're not a priority right now for me either.
For me either. So,
I'm creating right now. The new Venus cycle is what's up for this week. And of course, the Taurus new moon and Earth Day. So I want to invite everyone that's with us today and people I know will continue to join us. I was thinking too, as I made the list of what we were going to talk about for the rest of the year, and I sent that to you. I feel much better now. My Virgo has calmed down.
The side note of that, I was like, yes, a year of this.
Okay. Yeah, she's committed. I love it. If you're in, I'm in. I just can't do it without you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just fun, I think. But
yes, we're having such a good time. And it is changing things, and people are starting to figure out I'm here and all that.
Yeah.
So the replays are on YouTube when we do have something juicy. Yeah. And if you're on my e-list, then you get notified with a direct link, and that's all good.
Yeah.
So this week's prayers and divinations and things we want to talk about, yes, definitely I would love to offer some love and prayers for Earth Day and do our own little celebration of that, but encourage you all to do it in your own way where you're just grateful to be here. And the other thing that I wanted to share today that just came up, that wasn't sort of the plan, is that this is how we roll. Okay, so I've created many, many different kinds of readings.
Right.
I have created the 8 sacred seasons so that you can check in and get a tarot reading at every 6 weeks, and tailored the questions for each of them to the season, to what we need to know, what we need to explore. And I may have said this before, but it warrants saying again, is that winter, spring, summer, fall are the active, solar, out in the world with other people, active kind of times. The gates of power, which are those midpoints between winter, spring, summer, fall, that fall during basically the first week of May is Taurus, November is Scorpio. The first week of February is Aquarius. The first week of August is Leo. So it's the fixed signs that we anchor things in the middle, but they're also more lunar, meaning they're more inward directed, and they're more personal, and they're more about you, the individual. And so it's a time where we go out and we make choices and commitments, and we work with people and play with people and get with people and whatever we do with others. And then we have to have those moments halfway through where we check in with ourselves and make sure we're on track with whatever it is we're doing. The other thing about the fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, is they each, all 4, represent a different aspect of self-love and self-worth and self-value that is intrinsic for being human, that we all go through this on some level in some way. And they represent areas of life in our chart. So we can know those areas of life, and that can help us know where we're kind of attached, a little bit over-attached to certain things, or where our self-worth, self-value issues come up the most. Mm-hmm. So let me see if I can make an example. My Taurus rules my 6th house of everyday paycheck money. Okay. So, and I always like to remind people the money houses. The 2nd house is God money. It's magnetic. It's what you magnetize with your essence and who you are. 6th house is paycheck money. It's what you go to work for every day, working for other people usually, but whatever it is, however you get your paycheck, whether you cut it or someone else does. And then 10th house is career money, and it's what you're known for in the world, and it's a little bit larger. Sometimes involves the day job and the paycheck, but not always. So my Taurus rules my 6th house of everyday routine, and I remember consciously evolving in the department of being able to ask for more money when I would be interviewed for jobs. And I remember jumping, I was in my 20s. So back then, $20,000 a year was a lot. And then I wanted 35 though, because rents were going up, things were happening. And that was a huge jump. But I knew I was worth it. And I went in, and I just sort of, as an experiment, I wasn't even expecting it to work. But I just stood my ground. I was like, that's what I want. That's what I'm worth. If you don't want to give it to me, I'll find someone who will. Yeah. And it worked. And I got that job, and it was crazy. So actually, I don't know if it was before, during, or after, but Wayne Dyer talks about this in one of his books or tapes or whatever, because I was really into him back in the day. And he used to use some kind of story about how if you've always made $20,000, or you've always made 50, or you've always made 100, whatever it is that you think you're worth and whatever you're used to or conditioned to believe you're worth, most people stay in that zone. They don't get brave like me and risk not getting the job by standing up for it and saying, you know what, I'm not going to bend on this. So it's interesting to look at it, where those houses are in your own chart, to see where your self-value, self-worth issues come up. And then where you can practice, where you can work on it, and where you can build some muscle with it and be conscious about it and not feel victimized, So for the longest time, like many people, and certainly with this much Virgo, I was always a workhorse. So I didn't really go hard about the credit or,
your value.
Right.
Value. Yeah.
And recognition, so that money was a piece of recognition of your value, but, in that way. And then at the same time, I'm a big proponent of not tying my worth to money. So that's just one example. It happens to be the Taurus new moon. And so food, sex, and money are number one right now. So think about your needs and desires where food, sex, and money are concerned, or your personal creature comforts and personal security. And how is that changing? Okay, with 50th birthday for Earth Day, if I understand correctly. And so that means we've known for a long time that Mama needs some help and needs us to work with her and not against her. So what can we seed at this time that we'd like to see by November, 6 months from now, kind of pop? And because I did that exercise of mapping out what we're going to do for the rest of the year and serves what we're going to talk about here, it was really deep. Week by week by week, there was only 1 week where there was like, I put a note, the audience is going to have to tell us what to do. Yeah. Because there wasn't any good planets or any big activations or anything that I could lock in on. And at the same time, I'm like, well, we'll have something. We'll have something by then, because there is something magical every month happening.
Every month happening right this year, for sure. When you said that, I was like, whoa, cool. Right?
Yeah. And it is worth the effort to kind of walk ahead, which I do. And that was really interesting. So where we are this week is in very much the Venus zone. So there's 2 things I really want to talk about today is the new Venus circle that's about to start in June. And the free call that I'm offering this Thursday, April 23rd, is the part 2 of the free introduction to the Venus circle. And then the ancestors, the goddess readings that I created. I call Access Your Ancestors, Access Your Team, and Access Your Center. And it's 3 readings that were sort of born together. So I want to talk about those 2. But the new moon is where we're at. So I want people tuned in to your own values and self-worth, what Taurus is all about. I mean, when we just lock in on that food, sex, and money piece, what do you feel worth in those departments? And how are you doing in those departments in terms of feast or famine and balance?
Well, right now, a lot of my friends who are on quarantine are definitely feasting.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, some people are going to go one way, some people are going to go another, but it's interesting. I mean, it's wild because the longer it extends out, I don't know about y'all, but for me, there's new revelations kind of every day of things that I maybe have never thought about, never considered, or never worried about, or thought might not be possible, and then at the same time, I'm getting cracked open to these, wow, we could have been doing it this way all along, you know? Yeah. And so why can't we do it this way going forward? So there's all those bubbles, and that's the seeds I want y'all planting for the Taurus new moon is, what is the future? What's our garden going to look like in 6 months? What are you planting? And then I have a bunch of people getting into their gardens for sure. You know,
chickens, like
yes,
like outrageous chicken coops that they're doing. I'm like, that is awesome, right?
I think there's a YouTube channel for that.
There is.
Okay. We just watched a really good guy who does Nature's Always Right, I think might be his name. And so it's just really great stuff where people are learning to do it themselves. And his idea was very in alignment with the urban gardener I've heard about, which is taking city plots and making gardens out of, empty lots. He actually bought land and just like enough like a 1/4 acre where you would normally put a house, but he didn't put a house, he put a garden, and it's his income stream. So I thought that was very clever. He's making his own food. He uses 0 pesticides. He uses all the animals and nature to work it out. Mm-hmm. He is in San Diego, I think. I think he's somewhere perfect. But
there's also some great greenhouse ideas and things you can
for indoors. Yes,
yes. For indoors and weather, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've also seen people taking their front, instead of spending a lot of money on water to water your lawn, right? Mm-hmm. Making vegetable beds. Right? And I'm like, brilliant, right? What a beautiful front yard.
People are getting creative. I know, it's wonderful. I love it. And that's beautiful for Taurus new moon too, because that's our creativity. It's our creation. And it's about creating your life by hand. So the new Venus circle is the Gemini theme. And at the midpoint, it's going to be Aries. So basically we have this air fire, which is very masculine. So underlying that theme, I know that we're recalibrating our masculine just as much as the feminine, whether Mars went backwards or not. But in addition to Mars going backwards, then I know that we are recalibrating masculine, feminine the whole time.
I'm listening.
What we
to
got?
it. Says yes. I just turned the whole front planters into the last year. They were all flowers. Now I mixed in all kinds of vegetables. Woohoo! See, that is awesome.
Yes. And so we're basically rewiring our values ourselves right now. And what is your ideas and concepts of life, let's say 2021, because most of us acknowledge that 2020 has taken on a life of its own, and we're all going to have to adapt and adjust to whatever happens in that regard. And so 2021, and even when I mapped out the year, that's how it felt. It was like winter solstice, 12/21, new day. In the meantime, clear out what's not working, get rid of who isn't really down with you, get streamlined, simplify your life. And then that was an amazing rabbit hole I went down. I was looking for a graphic to represent, what was it? I don't remember. I am doing archetypes instead of animals with the new Venus circle. And the archetypes that we're releasing shadow, like negative trickster. We love trickster in a good way. But negative, Gemini, when it's not balanced, is real, not fun trickster. And not funny trickster. It's not fun or funny. So we're releasing that in an overall way on our 9 months of release. When we reclaim at Aries, we're going to reclaim our inner pioneer, where we know we're in new territory, but we are cultivating the land. We're building the fences. We're doing what we have to put our houses up and rebuild life in new territory. And you got to look at it that way. We may or may not be on horseback riding, but we have technology that is a piece of what we have now, but it's still just like the pioneers. We don't know any more than they did when they went out west hoping for gold, So we're going to activate that and reclaim that in a way that also makes us very creative and very,
it
unique.
Gives us the opportunity to show up for ourselves and the planets in a way that can be creative and abundance and authentic to ourselves and nature, right? Like it creates a space for us to do that. Or we can, fight it, but that won't work.
Right. And so it was really interesting because I was looking for representation. I ended up on this article that had a video called, and it's a music video. It's a two-girl artist called Rising Appalachia.
Oh, I love them.
Scale Down. I lost my mind. And then Resilient. I sent to my son.
I have chills right now. So they were not that. Several years ago, they were local here, actually.
Right.
Oh my gosh, they're so.
So I do recommend you YouTube those ladies because they just really nailed how I was feeling, and I only found them through looking for this image, this graphic. Like it was God really leading me in different ways to find answers to some things, and so be open to that, and that they wouldn't be anyone I would look up on my own. I sent it to her too. You got to look up Scale Down, Sister Shaman. You'll love that one too.
It's so good.
It is. That's our Earth Day chant. I want everyone to look it up. That'll be your homework for Earth Day. Scale Down by Rising Appalachia.
Background for you in a second.
Yeah, that's so funny. So it is really a good time for us to claim a new life, a new way of life, a new way of relating. Because here's the thing, it's Venus all day this week because of it being a Taurus new moon. So we are also heading in a zone where the intensity is going to rise before it falls. You know what I mean? And we are in a zone heading toward eclipses. We're going to already be in a Venus retrograde, which is rewiring the priorities, but eclipses kind of break to realign things that you may or may not be ready for. And yes, good deal.
Yeah.
And so Thursday, we're getting together for free. It is, you can go to my website, karmictools.com. Under Venus Circle, you'll see open house. And you can register for a two-parter. I already did part 1 last week. This week is part 2, where we go much deeper into what we as individuals are going to experience.
I'm going to ask a real quick question, just because I had my own email and internet issues.
All right.
Resend out one if someone's signing up for number 2, because I did forward that to a bunch today. Will you send them?
They'll get number 1 automatically.
Included in that, and
automatically.
And then, because I did share it and said, okay. ask for number 1 if you did not sign up in time.
No, I'll make sure everyone has both, because it's kind of silly not to have both. So The first one was the overall for everybody and the energy, the vibe of Venus retrograde in general that happens every 18 months. Now we're going to go deeper into Gemini, Sag, Virgo, Pisces, and those departments. And the thing is, like I said, there are three modalities with the signs. And so we talked about the fixed earlier.
Yeah.
And now the mutables are Gemini, Sag, Virgo, Pisces. They are the connections and the processors and the processing times of year. So when it's Gemini time, we're always processing what have we learned? What has come up in the new year? Because it's always June. What's going on? What are we learning? And you go 6 months from that and you have a story in December. You know, you've got a story of the whole year at that point. In between, you know, Pisces, Virgo is spring and fall equinox. It's preparation for initiating something new or having your fall harvest. Either way, you got to do this processing before you do it. Mm-hmm. So they always precede the action times. So the fact that we're getting pulled back into extra processing time, it's going to extend the processing time, even though it's in the Gemini department. By default, it affects those other three. And so it's important for us to know, even if you don't, like I don't have a lot of planets I don't have any in Pisces, but I do have Virgo, Gemini, and Sag. So there's sometimes when you're missing that fourth leg, you want to bring it in consciously or just be slightly more aware. So activating my imagination and trusting and letting go, like God, all that has been an issue. And it's primarily, it rules my fourth house of home. So my upbringing was pretty crazy. And it all kind of is rooted there. But the answer is always the opposite, right? So I got really into my Virgo, got practical and organized. And like I told you in the note, like I just didn't feel as organized until I had that list that is our guide for the rest of the year. And that's just things that we can do to self-soothe, you know, whatever it is that gets your anxiety up or makes you uncomfortable or makes you not as clear. Like I have to be clear on these things to talk to you guys and to be ready for whatever questions come my way. So I can't afford that.
And it also, whatever that is, like this week I'm doing this, Melissa did a spring cleanse thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so prepped for that. It's a 5-day thing and we're meeting with people mainly about communication and talking and helping support each other. And it's brief, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the things we already do, but it's reconfirming that. And I recommitted because I felt so tired this weekend, right? Mm-hmm. And my sleep pattern's been a little cattywampus.
Totally.
I'm on this thing way more than I have ever been in my life, right?
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, let's work back on like my sleeping habits, right? My warm tea before bed, my chamomile is right. And then when I prepped my things ahead of time, right?
Totally.
Whether the grocery store had it or not, I had alternatives if I had to go, right?
Right.
It's like, okay, gosh, you know, that just opened up so much more space for me.
Yes.
And it's just like you mapping it out for the year. It's like, oh, right?
And it so helps. I do my food and juicing on Sundays and Wednesdays.
Yes.
Because it carries me for about 3 days.
Yeah.
But I'm used to that rhythm, and that rhythm works for me even when the rest of the rhythm changes.
That's
like
right.
I still seem to be good about my food prep doing that. And then my husband started this thing where he went from mornings to nights and in terms of his shift for work, and he cut out 1 meal a day and he feels 10 times better. And he's prepping the meals ahead of time. Just like you said, he's got 5 days and he just added it up. He's like, I could teach a class on this. And I said, you should. You should go to work and teach these men because they're eating Chick-fil-A and all the crazy fast food in the airport, paying double for it. He spent $15 on 5 days of excellent chicken, green beans, and rice, you know, and a full meal. Yes.
His body.
Real garlic, real food.
And not only the money, but also the environment, like the garbage.
Totally.
Like all of right?
Saving so much. Just do it yourself.
Through December, like when you did that one, there was this like total complete love and joy that she's in it.
That she wants to be here.
She does, right? And that that's something else that I know that it's like, yes, things are going to come up in that for us to discuss, but that takes it off your plate. So it gives us more space for
to be present with the present moment. Yes. And I think this
allow more creativity in, right? Right.
And that's what we're opening up to this month. You know, this is what's up. And so that was another thing about the Venus going backwards is going to rewire all our values and priorities in a certain way. It's resetting things. If 2012 resonates for you, that's the last time she lingered in this area. That's the other thing I wanted to put on the table today, is when she does this, it is an evolution in consciousness for humanity, and it's an evolution in how we connect and communicate with each other for humanity. So we're more connected than ever. Pretty much every time she does this, we wake up to another level of how we're connected. And it's happening again this year. So 2012 was a big year like that. Remember, we're like Mayan calendar, the whole nine. We are one.
Yes.
Yeah, it was huge. So the thing about 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right now
it's connection
really
is
new way, right?
wow, exactly. Yeah. And then there's
Right?
some people who like were happy when handshakes went out. Like I know some men that like don't like the handshake, and so they're perfectly happy with bowing or whatever, or elbows or whatever you want to do. But it's so funny, and we're gonna learn some tricks behind this.
I'm like,
I know, I do.
Right?
I need a hug. I need a hug. So yeah, we're doing the best we can. And so this time around, I want you not just planting seeds for what's valuable and important to you, the individual, although that's where you want to start, but also social collective. What does that look like? That's healthy, balanced, culturally diverse, exchanges, balanced exchanges, conscious equal partnership with plants, minerals, food,
everything.
All of it, right? If it's alive and it has vitality, we need to learn how it works and how to work with it. And that's what Taurus New Moon is all about. So it's life. We're on the life side of things. And as we move through that zone, we're going to go, so we're going to have the Taurus Scorpio lunation right now. That's where we plant seeds for the garden. And in Scorpio full moon, we're going to release any shadow issues or unconscious sabotage things or power issues where you're feeling like you don't have any negative Scorpio out of here. Also, it's a checkpoint to check in with your soul. So this is this month, Taurus Scorpio. Well, then we're going to get to Gemini Sag, and it's the first Gemini Sag eclipses in 10 years, and it's tied to a 20-year cycle. So 2012 was actually the time Venus retrograded in Gemini. We also had Gemini Sag eclipses. So that exact same June, I was looking at an eclipse right after we saw Venus cross the sun. It was magical. But it was also, again, an up-leveling for humanity and social community dynamics, let's say. So we're incrementally, month by month, building something. So if we start here in the soul level and in the personal zone of what you're hungry for, what you need, what your personal needs are to function. And Taurus can be very practical. This is a time where we can get very practical with our needs. And I don't know about you, but if I have to prioritize in a certain way, it gets easy for me to just cut. Like there's things you just know that's not even worth it right now. So we're not worried about that. And so we just want to be mindful of like I said, it's going to get more intense before it wanes. So
I just want everyone to hear that a little bit and take that in. And I think that's where our charts and readings and our community circle, like the Venus circle, right?
Yes.
Come into play, not only as a support group, but also sharing of information and knowing ourselves better and how we work with that collective, right?
Right.
And that comes from community. And I want to say that I think that's a vital thing right now to remember.
Totally.
Maybe we're doing this when we're seeing somebody. We still have,
but we're doing this in our hearts.
Yeah, and we still have this connection, so we can meet in circles and communicate and take that in, so that one, we don't feel alone, but two, we know that support's there to carry us through some of these interesting times that are ahead, right?
That we've never experienced before, so we don't have a frame of reference. That's when the ego and your parts of you go a little wacky, is because we don't have an immediate answer. So that's why being still, going within and asking, what is this? What is presenting itself? What is it really? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And what is it really? And learning to do that, slow down. Taurus would always tell you to slow down and do it step by step, piece by piece. And when you get done, it's so much stronger. It can't be rocked. That's that self-esteem, self-love that Taurus represents. So personally, you should be planting seeds for that. Your individual value and how you love yourself, and what does that entail? So working out or dancing or singing or chanting or whatever it is that gets your soul engaged and your body engaged. We're in body soul first. Then we're going to go to mind and consciousness. And then we're going to go to fundamentals of Capricorn Cancer. So we're at the end of Cancer Capricorn eclipses right now. They've stirred things up in that department, rearranged our fundamentals, definitely. Home and work changed forever. Self versus other, that, you know, individual in the community changed forever. So now we're moving into a zone of Gemini Sag eclipses, which will happen for about 18 months. And the North Node's going to shift from Cancer to Gemini. So the point will be the new creative ideas. The shadow, or what we'll be releasing over the next 18 months, is negative belief systems that do not serve life. We're here to serve life. The only point in being alive is to serve life. It's not to spend your whole life, you know, killing things and killing every aspect of, and shortening things the way we do. So we can expand where we've been contracting. And then there's places where we've been way too expansive and we need to consolidate. So play with these things. That's what the duality and the opposites of Gemini bring up for us. And activate your twin. Find out what your opposite nature might look like if you were to flip the script in your own world for how you normally roll. Like, that's how I break negative patterns for myself, is I have to consciously tell myself to act like someone else, even though it's a different version of me, right? And it's a, you know, it's just a trick, but it works. Get me, it unlocks something that gives me ideas, or it gets me in touch with something. It allows me to see something I wouldn't see if I wasn't looking through that lens, you know, if I wasn't looking through that lens.
I love your analogy of the filter, right, in the dryer.
Yes.
Or I'll take off, like I always say, like, you know, we put on our coats, right, whatever that is, whatever label or identity we think we've had, right?
Right.
Because of life experience or whatever. And it's like, well, sometimes I'm just too damn hot with a coat, right? I'll take that off and it's like, oh, no, I feel so much better without that idea of what I had, and I get to be something else under that jacket, right?
Yes.
Like, we get to explore with that, you know?
Exactly.
And I'm sure a lot of us, with the pressure that has been going on around us, are finding some of those spots in us that maybe, you know, we either thought we had buried.
This is more important to me than I thought. You know, I think everyone, my kids are more important than I thought. My marriage is more important than I thought. There's people that have been chasing the hamster, you know, on the hamster wheel, kind of chasing money, chasing a purpose, chasing a job, chasing whatever, that constantly eludes you, which is another Taurus new moon seed to kind of work with, is that, you know, that hunger for something that's never satisfied. Yeah. So you got to get to the heart. Venus rules it. You've got to love it, or you're not going to care. If you don't love the earth, you're not going to care about what you throw on her or what you do to her. So you've got to love anything to care. And now we got to love everything so that we can stick together. And that's what the new Venus circle will do. It is a Venus reading and a custom guide that's turning out beautiful. I'm so excited. I'm trying to have it done by Thursday. And because I do have people who have already signed up. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to do this. It's $150 for your custom guide and your reading, and that gets you set up for the whole cycle. You could call it a day right there, but we do the monthly circle to get together and work our book together.
I'm just going to tell you, for the amount of work and what you get, it's unbelievable, actually. It is. And, you know, people ask me all the time, but see, you guys got to remember, I started doing this for myself. So I want my book. And so it makes it real easy for me to knock it out, because then it's like, okay, I got it for myself. If anyone else wants it, great, you know. And that actually has only happened once. I made the Venus retrograde in Leo in 2015. And that's the only one people kind of all dropped out, and I didn't have anyone participate. It was the weirdest thing. Yeah. But I had my book, so I worked it. Yeah.
And it was great.
Isn't that curious? Like, I wonder what was going on.
I know.
Period, right?
Well, it was a crazy time. I think it was prior to elections in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
And the self-love and joy and have fun, nobody cared about having fun. Nobody cared about getting to know their hearts again. Even though that was when I started pushing people to say, we got to socialize different, was then. So that by now we'd be better off, right? But I did it. I planted seeds for everyone. No, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter if you didn't actually work it.
and they growing.
You
Yes.
worked it in your own way. And so, yeah, most
Everyone
of the
is
time
saying
I
it's
have people.
super valuable and amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll keep you on track. And then we do the 9 months of release. We'll look ahead to what we're going to reclaim. And it gives you a little bit of edge to what you want to release so that you know when you get there, you're kind of ready for what you're going to reclaim. And then when we get to the reclamation side, we look back to see what did we clear to get here, and it locks it all in. It really brings it together so that you know that every 18 months, this rhythm of every 9 months of in and out, up and down, letting go, bringing in, acquiring and releasing throughout the cycle. Once you get a rhythm to it, it gets so much easier and things work better. You're on track, with your values and priorities,
The
essentially.
way I
And
view things,
relationships and finances is the department, so that's
well,
what
it
most people
works
care
at like
about.
the cellular level, right? Like through the
Hmm.
mitochondria of your own cellular level with the way the planet works. And then
Hmm.
I think it also helps instill that death and rebirth cycle, right? In
Hmm.
everything, right? And
Totally.
it's
Giving you
okay.
permission. Yes.
Yeah. Like,
To let
oh,
go.
wow,
Hmm.
you have permission to that. And to say, hello, I'm here.
Right.
Right.
And bring
Right.
something new in and
Yeah.
be, confident about it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. We're opening up new ideas. The overall, Sister Shama's been with me a long, long
I
time.
know.
So it's a time where we're going to open to new ideas, new options, new opportunities. Even the challenges, always ask, what's the opportunity? What's the hidden potential in this obstacle, in this blockage? If you're getting stopped in your tracks for certain things, it's because Spirit wants you to look around and see what you've got going on here. There might be something you're missing that could really help you. And if you're just buzzing through the world and you don't slow down ever, you could miss a lot. And a lot of people have, and I think they're finally connecting to that and realizing, like I said, where the priorities might be very different on the other side of this. I don't
Yeah.
think people are going to be in that big hurry to do so much for,
Or
the wheel, like what I mean, for the
even if
system, let's say.
and I was just gonna say the system, or even in their work, right? Maybe they've had a career
Hmm.
and now all of a sudden they still have it. It looks a
Right.
little different right now.
Totally.
But I had a conversation with someone last weekend or something, and was like, "What's the point of it?
Hmm.
This, right? There's no purpose
Hmm.
in that, right?" And so they're
Hmm.
just wanting to reclaim like what's more connected to who
That's
really
definitely
is.
happening. People are
Yeah,
getting their purpose back. It's not
yeah,
just a job. Nobody wants to go to work just for a paycheck. We all need a
yeah.
purpose. That's human. A good human has a purpose. If you don't have a purpose, you feel lost. You feel like you don't matter. And that's what makes you angry and crazy and sad and lash out and project on everybody else. So the looking in the mirror is part of our Aries reclamation. So we're going to open to these new ideas. But then when we do reclamation, basically for the Gemini side, we're clearing our consciousness. We're clearing all the negativity or the duality or the things that aren't in alignment and letting go of all the monkey mind mental things that aren't real. They're our perception. So we're going to strip some of that, clean the filter all day. And then we're going to get in Aries and choose. Aries is about who you are and what you want as an individual. So after you've cleared your mind and cleared your heart and cleared your soul, you ought to be able to stand on that, leading from Aries all the way to Capricorn when she'll retrograde again. And when she lingers in Capricorn, that's going to be a whole new day as well. So the idea is we're going to come up with these new ideas and we're going to anchor a new identity and purpose for sure out of this. But when she lingers in Capricorn next time, it's going to ask us to give a form to it. So I would imagine with the government breakdown and all that, that we won't see a form until then. And that's pretty much 2022, 23. So it's, calling that in now, seeing the vision, holding the vision for miracles to happen. We're going to have miracles still throughout this year. We have an opportunity to change the story we're telling for ourselves and each other and the planet. Story just changed, everybody. New characters, some characters got written out, some got, think of people that end up on the editing floor.
Yeah.
So it's like it happens. So we're just going to take things month by month. When you do your own, the reading in your book, we'll find out what it's doing for you. And everybody usually has her hit at least 2 to 3 planets in a retrograde because she's lingering there. And that'll tell you kind of the theme for yourself,
So
what's
do you,
getting rewired.
so people sign up. I'm just going to give, like, since we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about it a little bit, and I know we want to go into some more stuff, but for people who
Mm-hmm.
are new to this, it's the Venus Circle. There's the 2 calls for free. You sign up
Mm-hmm.
and you email them a book, correct?
Well, they'll get a PDF and a spiral bound book when mail service works. I have a lot of
Okay.
international, and
Yeah.
international is not working so good for that. But I can still mail in the US, I think.
Okay. But they'll also get the PDF if they wanted to print it
PDF,
out
yes.
themselves. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
They're not, yeah. So it's going to be great. You're going to be supported, you know, and
Yeah.
all of that. And then I also am working on the teaching platform, so you might not even have to hold it all. You know, most of it'll be up there as well, where it's in one place for you to get to, and you don't have to worry about your emails and such.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the fun circle that we're doing. This is the week of Venus anyway, because of the Taurus new moon. So anytime we're looking at a new moon, you want to see the ruler. Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to say, because when we get to, I was going through the Taurus Scorpio lunation, then we're going to hit the Gemini Sag. We're going to have the first Gemini Sag eclipses, and then we're going to have the last Cancer Capricorn eclipses. When that happens, we're going to have 2 back-to-back Cancer new moons. Every 18 months, we get either 2 new moons or 2 full moons, back to back, like in a 30-day period, in 28 days, the moon cycle, right? So that gives us what I call the lunar flip. And so right now, we're still in the zone of planting seeds and having to walk by faith. And we get to the full moon and we sort of see what's what. And you make adjustments. When it flips, the full moon is going to precede the new moon for 18 months. And that's when things light up and you can finish things and clear the decks to be in a total clean slate starting fresh and new on new moon. Now, what I tell people is learn the rhythm. Figure out how it feels for you. I personally prefer full moon preceding the new moon. I like to clear the decks, seed new, and let go and let God. I walk away. And I can do that so well. But my Virgo control freak and my Aries, I want it now. I have a hard time with planting the seeds, walking by faith to the full moon, and dealing with what I didn't understand or didn't know or didn't get at the new moon. Like that's frustrating to me. It doesn't always happen that way, but it can. And so the rhythm itself is something that I have to kind of tell myself, just plant the seeds and keep walking, you know, just adjust with.
I was gonna say, and then knowing yourself and how you work with that gives you
Right,
the
right,
opportunity not
right.
to be active, right? And go, okay,
Totally.
like this is why I'm feeling that way. And you can work with it in a much smoother, more natural way, even though it might be a little annoying or uncomfortable.
Hello, right,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely it. Now I know we're short on time, but I wanted to bring up one more thing because
Okay.
this was another synchronicity kind of thing that I love to share with people who, because most of you that have at least joined us here on Instagram are pulling your own cards and doing your own things and writing me and letting me know the validation that you're getting or the new ways that you're doing things. And I love that. I really do. And so one of the things that has come up with the goddess cards being so popular here, that we've done them a few times on here, and I use them all the time, but I also created those readings: access your ancestors, access your team, and access your center. And so just yesterday, as I was asking the universe, I sort of asked, do I need to revive these readings and sort of make a new updated version of them and whatnot? And then yesterday someone writes me for their reading that I did in May of 2008. It's like, that's how long. And she's like, do you still have that on file? Because I need to see it, because I used to make it in a book for them. And she's like, I lost my book. But of course I have a PDF. And so I got to send her the 3 readings. It's a package. And so normally they're like $20 each, or you can get all 3 for $50. And so I think I am going to put them up. If they used to be on the website, but I don't think they are right now. So I have to upload them. But they're so fun. And so I have a little, I laminate them so that I can just look at what the entries are. But access your ancestors came up with remembering who you are. I developed that with the goddess card specifically for activating my inner sacred feminine. And so what I ended up doing was pulling one for me, you the individual, for you the individual, then your mother, your grandmother, your great grandmother, And then the source of all is the next level. Now, I have a picture of me, my mother, grandmother, and great grandmother. So I have the 4 generations. I love that. And it's really special to have that. But everybody doesn't, and that's okay. Because then I went to that next level that I don't know, my great great grandmother, and asked for the next level of feminine energy that's kind of running through your bloodline, is kind of the vibration I was going for at the time. And then what is reborn through us, the individual, out of that maternal line, what is reborn in you. And then there's your initiation. So it's just like what we've talked about with Saturn, how you're born to a reality, but you also choose and create a reality. At the age of 28, you sort of realize it's up to you now. So that's the initiation beyond what we were born into. And then I have additional insight and above and below. So it ends up being a 3, 6, like a 10-card reading. And it's wonderful. The Access Your Ancestors is just really good to calling in what it helped me with was, because the goddesses tell you all about the history and where they came from, it gives you little clues of things that you either already resonate with, or that you could research and look into and find out would be good for you to integrate into your being, into your personality. And that really helped me own certain strengths that, let's say, when you're growing up and you have certain characteristics.
Right there with you.
And there's half the family thinks they're wonderful and half the family thinks they're not. They're decidedly not. So you don't get that positive feedback for your nature, which is a big thing for me, because I didn't get that. And so I believe in honoring people's nature. And so this was a way for me to find a positive expression of some of those things I had overlays or imprints of negativity from other people's perceptions, not mine. I didn't know anything was wrong with the way I was being raised until somebody said I couldn't have a sleepover because I was unsupervised.
I'm thinking of this example. I'm thinking of the picture I have of my family, right? I don't know if your great granny was like stoic in her picture, right?
Of course.
Right. And how I know I was at 7 years old, and I remember being frustrated with my mom because she wasn't taking care of herself.
Me and my mom were at odds too, and I was only 2.
The odds started way
in the picture.
But
it was so funny.
Went and she was an oncology nurse. She did hospice. She was great, but not about herself, right? And I remember standing there going, "I will take care of myself." And not understanding from that age perspective,
right? Totally.
There was some strength in things she was doing. She just didn't. Her focus was different than what mine was.
Her priority was different, right?
Right. And I was resistant to some of the good qualities too, right? And so as I hear you speaking, I'm thinking, okay, how many of the great qualities have we not even recognized, even within ourselves, of what that line is, right?
Right. Totally. And that's what this gave me. And I build on it. And I would do one every year for my birthday or whatever, just to wake those characteristics up for myself. And it works. And I think that's why my client was reaching out, and she was like, I need to see that again. I don't know why it came to her. And I'm pretty sure she bought the cards because she's like, I could pull these myself, but I like the reading you did. And so, that one is for your ancestors. But what also came out of that was Access Your Team and Access Your Center. So the Access Your Team is your destiny number. So mine is a 5. So my team is 5 members in my team. So I would get 5 goddesses. That's how many you would get. So if you're a 9, you get 9. If you're a 1, you get 1. I think there is an above and below. You might get an additional insight, but it depends on your destiny number. And that's your birth date added up. It's your month, day, and year, 19, whatever, all the digits added up to a number, and then reduced to a single digit. And that's the Access Your Team. Access Your Center is just the 3-card reading that gets you back in your center right now. Let's just what do I need right this second that's going to help me today? And that's just when you need to get recentered. And they really help me so much. So I'll put them up under readings on Karmic Tools, where you all can order them if you want, or just email me and we can work it out.
And then you send the cards in the mail. Is that how, or PDF?
No, it'll be a PDF. It'll be a PDF. And I could print it and mail it. But I have some old school people who can't do online. So I print things and I put them on CD instead of MP3. So I can totally do that.
Not on VHS or 8-track? No, wait.
Right. I'm good, but I'm not that good. I've held on to a lot of old equipment. I got to tell you, I'm very happy because you can't find them anywhere. So now I'm glad I didn't throw a lot of stuff. But then there's some I threw away that I'm bummed about. but it's all good. So yeah, that's our week, is tapping into what's important to you, what's valuable to you, and what's important within you, and what's valuable about you is the seed planting for the Taurus new moon that we've got going on this week. And then next week, it will be liberation and awakening on an individual level. Well, that's part of Uranus being in Taurus, is waking us up. So it's lending weight to the changes that we need to bring about in a physical, literal way. And there's just a whole new direction socially and collectively. It's basically next week when the North Node changes. So our focus on self-care, let's hope this has gotten anchored, because however you treat yourself is where you're going to grow out of with these ideas now, and the consciousness and the awareness and what you're really thinking about in your head. It's like we did the body first. Now we're going to go into the mind and rework some things. And then we're going to end up in the heart, filtering everything finally through that to what do you really care about, and what are you willing to work for or sacrifice for or invest in. Taurus is about investing your energy in a way that you're going to get a return. And that takes practice and care and focus and slowing down and making certain choices about what's really important to you, no matter what other people seem to think or what, without violating folks, we've got to do what we need to do for ourselves. And I think by and large, most of us would, that's what we want. We want a peaceful home, a sanctuary that we can come back to. We want to contribute, but you still need a corner that's yours to replenish and to get yourself together to go back out there. So we're cultivating that. And this next kind of 90-day segment of time is an evolution in your Gemini, Cancer, Leo departments. We're heading that way. So Taurus, Gemini, Cancer is up. And then, of course, birthdays this year. Everybody's figuring out new ways to celebrate birthdays. I have a baby shower that's going to be on Zoom. It's so crazy. We're getting very creative, people. I love it.
Very creative. I heard one of my friends said to her fiance, she lives in Arizona, and he's a pilot. And his high school buddies, somehow they met up on this, and so they've been doing happy hour via FaceTime.
I love it. There you go.
Like from all over, and some of them hadn't talked in like 10 years or something, right?
Exactly. There's a lot of that too.
Every week, I'm like, oh, that's hilarious.
Conversations abound that haven't been getting done in years. Yep.
Yeah. So
and making time to call people is nice, Mm-hmm. And I know my elders appreciate it. They're not texting. And when they do, it's funny and it doesn't make sense.
It's gibberish.
So it's better to just get on the phone with the elders and talk to them directly. Yeah. And they're the ones that are sort of hurting a lot because they were isolated to begin with, and now it's worse, So I'm really checking in on my elders a lot. Yeah, and they don't know what to believe. Right. Yeah. And then there's others that are rebellious. They're not having it. My one is in an old folks home, and she made everyone open their windows. They have like a local radio station, turn all on the same station, and they wanted to sing like Italy.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And they did it. I love it.
That's joyous.
They're making fun out of it. Yeah.
And
then somebody who sews things, and she was always sewing things for the little dogs on the property. She's sewing masks now. So they're having fun with it too. There's not everybody's miserable, and that's the thing. It really is kind of 50-50. Some people love the pullback, and some people are going bonkers, like, not so much.
And some people, like you said, are finding much more creative ways.
But everyone's finding a new way, right? Yeah,
right.
Everyone's finding a side of themselves. Like, that's good Gemini too. That's finding a side we didn't even know existed that we could tap into. That now, when we go forward, we might not be as loose, let's say, with our valuable time and resources,
Right. Yeah.
So thank you, everyone.
Mindful. I was going to say, one of the things I want to do, I've gone for a few walks, and I've noticed, I saw this actually at the nursery. Mm-hmm. Where you can tell some people that are angry, right? They're taking their gloves off and throwing them on the ground. So I'm getting a couple of us together that we're going to take garbage bags with our gloves and pick up garbage all around, right?
Right.
I've noticed that more. I don't know if you have.
Wow, no.
And I'm super conscious of anyway, right?
Right.
Like
me and the beach, yeah. I'm like that at the beach. I can't ignore trash on the beach.
I can't.
Yeah.
I remember in Ireland, one of the things I found that was just so, one of many, was every town that I went to, tidiest town, cleanest town, and people like they weren't drinking and everyone's smoking, right? Like,
wow, but they're clean.
there was no garbage anywhere. And I mean
Wow.
that. Like,
Wow.
like I didn't care if I was out in the country. I drove through the whole country, and I'm like, this
Wow.
is so awesome. But that would be something that I would be mindful of, right? Like with my
Yeah,
relationship with Earth.
totally.
It's like, okay, come on,
That's it.
an opportunity. I'll pick up something right now, you know? It's like,
Right. It's so easy.
we're
And
all
I
wearing
think people
gloves.
will.
We're wearing
They're
gloves
going to find,
anyway.
yeah, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
just grab it.
So
Keep a
just
little
do it.
garbage
Handle it.
bag.
I actually am, because I've also got the wipes and stuff and everything,
Yeah.
and you don't want those piling up. So,
No.
all right, everyone. I'm so
Thank you.
grateful that you were here.
And I want to do the ancestor. I'm gonna.
Yes, I got you.
And then don't forget to email me about Thursday, because I will send
Okay.
out another big shout out. And you guys,
Share.
yes,
Okay,
go to
cool.
Kelly's for the Venus Circle.
Yes.
Thursday
Join
at
me
what
this
time?
week.
What time?
8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific.
Perfect.
And so it'll be a conference call, and we'll go from there.
All right,
All right, everyone. Thank you so
bye,
much.
everyone. Have a
Much
great
love.